Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to THESPIANWERX. I am your host, Anthony Velvet Hall. And as I tell everybody, all the world is a stage, but not everything on the stage is the same. So, what I do is I make sure that I bring people from all walks of entertainment to the stage so they can talk to me and talk to you and just tell you about what's going on in their form of entertainment and in their field. And tonight I have a very special guest. All my guests are special. So I definitely want to bring this young lady on because she has a really interesting story, and I think everybody needs to hear it, especially actors and actresses. And here she is.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the esteemed honor and privilege to bring to you a one on one interview with the one, the only flight attendant turned actress, Miss Veronica Slater. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, it's good to see you. Good to talk to you. Um, awesome to meet you. Tell us about your origins and where you're from.
Okay, so originally I'm from Chicago,
Okay.
and while in Chicago, of course, I worked for the hometown airline, United, and that's where the flight attendant turned actress slogan came from. Um, and I got tired of being cold and moved to lovely Atlanta, where I think I brought the cold weather with me because now it's starting to get really cold here too.
hmm That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I've lived in a few places. I've lived in Washington, D.C. So, because I was a flight attendant, I traveled all over. So, yeah.
Right. Right. So as a flight attendant,
hmm
you say you work for United.
hmm
Did you and you're from Chicago. So just as a basketball ball fan, I have to ask you
Oh,
about the Chicago Bulls.
of
Were
course.
Okay, so were you working for United during the time the Bulls were just running ruckshot through the NBA?
Yes, it was a period of time, but some of that I was in college, so it was that span. I mean, there was a long span, of course, for their time that they were just ringing, ringing, ringing every season, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I remember being at a party when they won, but I think I was I was in college at the time when they the first season that they won. I was still in college. Yeah, so yeah, big parties in Chicago during that time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
hmm
Nothing wrong with that. And I'm sure that you probably have crossed paths with many Bulls players.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember meeting Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. I had a good friend of mine, another former job that I had before I started working for United. I can't say the place where I work because I don't want to embarrass the person, but
Right.
I became friendly with a disc jockey named Bonnie DeShong. And she invited me to a Bulls party once, and so I got a chance to hang out with her. And she was local DJ on WGCI in Chicago, and I got a chance to hang out with them and party. It was a lot of fun.
I'm sure it was. I'm certain it was. When you say Chicago Bulls, you say party, the
Mhm.
first thing I think about is Dennis Rodman. So that's just, I mean, I can only imagine.
It wasn't during the Dennis Rodman period though. It was Scottie
Okay.
Pippen, Michael Jordan, and those guys. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Dennis Rodman hadn't come along yet. I think he was still playing for Detroit at the time.
Right, right.
hmm
And I know that was a very heated rivalry between Detroit and Chicago.
Oh
There was a
yeah.
lot of bad blood spilled. So trust me. And the crazy thing is, like, no matter where I go on my travels, I always seem to meet a lot of people from Detroit. Like seriously, I work with a guy.
Really?
Yeah, I work with a guy from Detroit.
hmm
I just did a movie with Kenya Hendricks,
Okay.
who's originally from Detroit, and Tristan Dejan, who was Nina Young's husband.
Yeah.
I think both of them are from Detroit. So yeah, I meet Detroit people all the time. So it's cool to finally meet
Interesting.
somebody from Chicago. You
And
know,
see, I guess being from Chicago, I always meet people from Chicago from the hometown. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
right, right. Well, that's pretty cool. Those are some pretty cool stories. I know they
yeah,
are. But
I have great
that's just
memories.
yeah, absolutely. And that's only just a part of your story.
Oh yeah.
I definitely would like to know what sparked your interest in acting.
So from a young age, I would probably say my first memory. It's funny. A lot of actors there that I talk to, their first memory is like a church play.
Right.
My first memory was school, and
Okay.
wanting to be the person with the microphone or wanting to be the person to get up in front and speak. I never had an issue with public speaking or speaking in class. In fact, when I was in college, they really wanted me to join a debate team because I was always speaking my mind or, being the one that wanted to be out front. And I would be the one speaking on behalf of the group or team or whenever we were presenting. And so a man named Sincere Thunder came to my high school
Oh, wow.
and started a drama guild. And me and a friend of mine, Ray Lewis, from Evanston Township High School, all of us, got into this drama guild. And the first play was called Let the Children Play. And it was like an ode to the ancestors. And, it was historical. And, it was during Black History Month. And so it was like, oh, wow. After doing that, I was like, okay, I really like this.
Right.
And so then we went on to do a few Douglas Turner Ward plays, A Day of Absence, uh, what was it? Day of Absence, Amen Corner. We did those. And so I continued. And so then when I went to college, of course, I wanted to major in theater. And my parents were like, no, you cannot major in theater. What kind of life are you going to have after that?
Right.
What are you going to do? I was like, be an actor. Actor, that's what I want to do. So what I did was I majored in journalism because I always asked questions. I always wanted to know what's happening. So when they taught me the inverted pyramid, they made a mistake because they made the questions longer and
Oh,
deeper.
man.
So so journalism was my major. I went to SIU, Southern Illinois University in Carbondale for undergrad.
Mhm.
And like I said, I majored in journalism and I had a minor in theater. And so I
Okay.
still kept acting. I was still in plays. And in fact, I started my own drama guild called Let the Children Play down in at SIU in Carbondale. And so we did a few Douglas Turner Award plays during that time. So, and I also did for Color Girls. So I found that I really found what I enjoyed doing. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, that's how I got started. And so
Okay.
immediately, of course, when I graduated, my thought process was, okay, so now how am I going to make this happen? And that's what led me to become a flight attendant. So,
Ah.
yes, it was funny. I was in the Publix grocery store
Uh-huh.
and I had a few, just regular jobs in between then. So it didn't just happen like a fluid story. There were other things that happened. But
Right.
one day when I really decided to pursue my passion, I was in the Publix grocery store and I came across this article of this United flight attendant that was on Days of Our Lives. And I said, now, wait a minute. She's a flight attendant and she's an actress. I could do it this way. Again, I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it.
Right.
And so uh, that's how I did it. I said, okay, I'm going to start flying. I'm going to start meeting people. I'm going to go out to LA. And, so that was my big deal. I wanted my first flight out to LA. And it was funny. It took me maybe all of my classmates after we graduated from training, they were going right out to LA. It took me
Mhm.
about 3 or 4 months before
Oh,
I
wow.
actually flew that trip to LA. And so when I finally flew that trip to LA, it was just like, okay, here's my chance. It was like old school. You know how old school you would always see, somebody got discovered, quote unquote,
Right.
and they were like,
Exactly.
that face.
Hmm.
So, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm going to walk off the plane. They're going to see my face and they're going to put me in a movie. Well, of course, it did not happen like that. So, so I went on about my business and, I had a real exciting, flight career. I did a lot of things while I was flying still. But what I noticed is I was always doing something that was that was fulfilling that passion, that fire that was still burning inside of me. So I took up training, which, as a trainer, I've always thought of acting as edutainment. It's a way to
Right.
educate and entertain people. And so as a trainer, I began to educate people. And so I added my little spin of entertainment in there. So it was almost like, my chances at training were doing stand-up comedy. So I would have fun, while I was training. And over a period of time, I became a really good trainer. And so I said, but this still isn't it. It was like, okay, it's fulfilling it for now, but
Right.
I still want to pursue it. And so I had an opportunity through United to do a buyout. And that's how I got into the Huffington Post. I think you saw the article that they did, 50 women over 50 shaking things up.
Yeah, I did.
And yeah, so I was in there and, they chronicled my story and told, my story of starting out as a flight attendant and, really going into acting. And the film that really kind of just lifted me was Selma. And so I was an extra in Selma. In fact, I'm in a few scenes where I was director picked to be a part of the family in the scene where Dr. King is speaking. And so there's some really good shots of me there. Of course, like I said, I don't have a speaking role, but it was a start. And so since then, I've been auditioning. And so my dream finally came true. I got a line in the film Fist Fight and I was so excited. I was cast as the lunch lady,
Right.
and I had a really good comedic, because I like comedic and drama at the same time, but my strength is comedy, and so I had that one line. I was excited. I was ready to go,
Mhm.
and right before the film came out, I got a hoodie from Ice Cube, which was nice, a hoodie with Fist Fight on the back. It
Right.
was the gift that he sent all the principal actors. So that was really exciting. But then I get this letter from the director. We are so sorry. We had to cut your scene. Yes. And so, while I was disappointed that my scene was cut, I'm looking down going, but I got a handwritten letter from
Right.
Richie Klein saying, hey, we're going to do this again. So I'm like, okay, just bring the lunch lady back and let me cut up just a little bit on film, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah. And so I guess the most exciting thing that's happening right now is this Saturday we are finally seeing the screening of a film I did with Dennis L.A. White called The Prayer. And I play Grandma Lynn in this one. And it's a drama, but I've got some really good comedic lines in this drama. So,
Okay.
I do how, even though you're telling a really serious story, you've got to have some kind of lines to kind of lighten things up. So I've
Absolutely.
got some really good lines in there that lighten things up. And I wish I would have sent you the promo right before so you could, if you wanted to take a break, you could have the trailer. I mean, you could have shown it.
Well, I mean, you can still send it to me. Just give me the address, and once I do the editing on this,
Okay,
put the final version, I'll actually play it
that
before
would
this
be great.
airs. So I can do that. I mean, just send me the link, and I'll be more than happy to do it.
Okay, that'll be great. That'll be great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and so
Yep.
that's really exciting. But the interesting thing was right before I left United. You remember the flight attendant that I told you that I saw in the magazine?
Right. Hmm.
Right when I took my buyout, and there were 26,000 flight attendants at United at the time.
Hmm.
Do you know she was on my flight?
Oh wow!
Yes. And
Imagine
I
that.
told her, I said, you inspired me to be here. I said, I became a flight attendant because I saw you. And she was Esther on Days of Our Lives. She was the maid.
Okay.
And I said, seeing you as Esther really inspired me to become a flight attendant so that I could live my dream of becoming an actress. I said, and now I'm getting ready to take the buyout to really pursue my dream. And here you are again. And she was like, she had tears in her eyes. I had tears in my eyes because it was like we knew that something big was getting ready to happen at that time. So
Right.
that was exciting.
Awesome. Awesome. Kindred spirits, I guess.
Hmm.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's an awesome story. Very awesome
Hmm.
story. Now, one thing I noticed with me being an actor as well is that a lot of people that I know, they start off as extras.
Mm-hmm.
Through whatever means, they eventually wind up getting principal roles or just roles that require speaking or have
Mm-hmm.
dialogue in them. But almost everybody I know and have come across has always done some sort of crime recreation show with entertainment. It never fails. Now, I've had the pleasure of doing two different shows, and in both shows, I was the killer.
Oh no, not the kid.
Yeah,
You
I was
know,
the killer.
when
And
I went to Knoxville the first time, the police who were on the shoot said, "Now, if you come back and do these shows, I just want to give you a piece of advice. Don't be the perp."
honestly, that was like I don't know how much fun everybody else had, but
Yeah,
I had a ball both times. Yeah, I was in Knoxville, and it was great both times I did it. Now I understand that you did Fatal Attraction.
I did Fatal Attraction. I
Mhm.
did Murder Calls. Murder Comes to Town. I did a couple of them.
Oh
Now,
wow.
what was interesting with Murder Calls, I submitted for one role, but when I submitted for the one role, I knew I wanted another role.
Mhm.
And do you know, as fate would have it, the director saw my audition and said, I saw you and upgraded you to this character because I saw this character in you.
Oh
So,
wow.
what I was actually trying to give off, the energy of that character, even though I was auditioning for one character. And so that's a piece of advice I want to give to aspiring actors. If you see the script or you see the breakdown and you see you might be called for one role, embody that other role because they can see it. He was
Absolutely.
able to see the embodiment of that main character in the two-liner that I had,
Oh wow.
and they booked me for the main character. I didn't even have to audition for the main character. They booked me for the lesser character, and I ended up getting the lead role.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That
Mm-hmm.
is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it does happen a lot of times. There have been several times I've submitted for something and I saw one role that
Mm-hmm.
caught my eye, but then as I go down through the breakdowns, there are about five or six that I look for, and I'll submit for one, but they be like, "Well, we made a choice, but you
Mm-hmm.
fit this role even better." So
It's
that does happen.
intention. Yeah, it's intention. And I think, if you have the right intention, of what you're trying to create in that role, I
Mhm.
think it can happen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that you've done some short films.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, have you worked? I'm sure you worked with Chuck Brown before.
Yes, I have.
Please, now I've been doing everything I can to get Chuck on this show.
Oh,
It seems
really?
like everybody I know a lot of people that have worked with Chuck, and as a matter
Mhm.
of fact, I've met a lot of people through working with Chuck. So
He's a
please
very
enlighten us.
gifted, talented writer, director, executive producer. He is a gifted individual. And because he is so gifted, he is equally busy.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, trust me, I know. I know.
yes. And
Yeah.
so working with him, it was really good. What was it? I forgot the name of that film we did. It was a dating it was a dating film. Um do you have the name of do you have my do you have it there? Because
Let's see, the
I can't
dating
think of it right
film.
now.
I
With
this wasn't a speed
Energy.
dating film, was it?
Say it again.
Was this the speed dating film?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, well, it was speed dating in the film, but that wasn't the name of it. But we
Okay, are you
we had
talking
all
about
these various characters.
55 seconds by chance?
No, I wasn't in 55 seconds, but I am
Okay,
familiar with 55 seconds. It
okay.
wasn't 55 seconds.
Because I was in
Um,
55 seconds and I was wondering.
okay.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out if I remember. I remembered everybody
No, I
there,
wasn't in 55
but
seconds.
this are you talking about SOS?
No. So SOS is another talented female director, producer, and actress, and that's Rashida Randall. So
Absolutely.
Saving Our Sisters was a film about human trafficking, which that
Right.
film was very close to my heart because that is one of my platforms that, I will speak on. If people have called me to speak against the horrors of human trafficking, as a flight attendant, I saw a lot of things. And at the time, because I wasn't educated on human trafficking, I
Mhm.
didn't know what I was looking at, but I knew it was something that wasn't right. And so after leaving the airline, I started really doing some investigation on human trafficking. It started coming more up in the forefront. There were films about it, people were talking about it. And I realized that there was even flight attendant training on human trafficking later on, called Blue Light. And so I created a Facebook page called Flight Attendants Against Human Trafficking. And on that page, I educate flight attendants on what to look for. Those that have not done the blue light training that the government has produced, so that they are educated on what to look for the signs of human trafficking. Because with taking people internationally and domestically, sometimes you see the same people over and over again, and something
Right.
doesn't look right. I remember there was one flight, there was a man that had a young girl with him, and they left on a Friday and they came back on a Sunday, but it was just something that just didn't feel right. And I had them on both flights and recognized them. And so, to recognize people like that, that doesn't often happen. But there was something that just didn't sit right with me with that situation. And he was always there. When she got up to go to the bathroom, he was there. It was no
Oh,
time that we were able to really pull her to the side and find out what was going on. And
ooh.
that's typically what happens with traffickers.
Oh man, that's something
Hmm.
serious. That is definitely
Yeah.
something serious.
So, and I
Um,
and I just think, having the spotlight and
mhm.
being able to get information out there, raise awareness to the fact that human trafficking is big. It's a big business. We just had this All-Star game here in Atlanta. I'm sure there were a lot of women trafficked during this All-Star weekend. And so the more
Absolutely.
that we can educate people on the horrors of human trafficking, I'm all about it. So when Rashida Randall asked me to play the mother to the two women in the film that were trafficked, I was right there because, again, it's my platform. And so that film was in the Houston Film Festival a couple of years ago. So we all went down to Houston and saw the film on the big screen at the festival. So that was really nice. We didn't win, but we got a lot of accolades for the film.
Yeah, shout out to Rashida Randall.
Yeah.
I was in 55 Seconds with her, and
Yeah.
she is the CEO of the Circle City Film Festival.
Hmm.
She's doing big things. Shout
Hmm.
out to her, most definitely.
Yes.
Now, we talk so much about your acting and everything else you have going on, but you've got a brand new venture that you're
Yes.
definitely leaning into, and that is voiceover work. Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about that.
So, when I would get on the PA when I was a flight attendant, and I would make my announcements, people would always say, "Who is that talking? Who is that speaking on the PA?" And I had one gentleman say to me, "You could tell me the plane was going down, and I would be okay because your voice is so soothing." And I was like, "Okay." So I get that. And then I had one guy tell me, "You sound just like Wanda Sykes. Insult me. Insult me because I want to hear you." I was like, okay. So it made me start to look at the various things that you can do, with your voice.
Right.
And I said, wow, that's pretty powerful that your voice can, do so much. I mean, we all know that, speaking adds life to or brings life into a situation, but to really be able to use your voice to give voice to things that are important, where people can hear you and feel some type of way, that's
Mhm.
powerful to me. And so I took a class with Joyce Licorice, Dream Empire. Shout out to Dream Empire.
Right.
And she, taught me about the equipment that I need. This is my voiceover mic here. I have the real deal
That's what's
voiceover
up.
mic. And So I've been working with, and I've got my, right now we're in my voiceover studio. I took a closet in my house and converted it to a voiceover studio. So
Nice.
to make it really, really quiet. And so this is my space where I do my voiceovers. And so I'm really looking to get into some IV. It was suggested to me to consider IVR products, like the person that's on the phone when you call, or I mean, even I'd like to be, if I can just dream for a minute, I'd
Hmm.
like to be the voice of that flight attendant, like on the smaller planes, when
Got
it's a one flight attendant and they hit the play button and you hear that person, ladies and gentlemen, the flight attendants. So I like to be that voice.
Well, who's to say you can't? I mean, it's
Oh,
just
I
you
can.
may just be scratching the surface to do a lot of different things. I mean, this may be the start of something big.
Yeah. So it's exciting. It's exciting. But the number one thing I always have people say when I tell them, that I used to be a flight attendant, I want to, do you still remember the safety demo? Can you say it for me?
Oh wow.
So even in my class with Joyce Licorice, I did it for the class, and they were like, "Oh, I'm ready to travel. You because of course I had to take them to a good destination, so I took them to Hawaii, and they were like, "Oh, I'm on." So yeah, so that it makes it exciting. So this is my new like baby venture. I'm getting it off the ground, and yeah,
Okay,
it's
that's
exciting.
cool. That's cool. Outside of voiceover, um, I guess voiceover endeavors. I guess we could
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
What other future projects do you have that you're
So,
working
like I said, I got the prayer coming out, and then Colorblind is being edited. I play crazy Aunt Phyllis, in my genre of comedy, I had a good time playing crazy Aunt Phyllis, and so that'll be coming out. We haven't been given a date. I know they're still editing. We recently just got an update on that. But another exciting venture that I'm going to be doing is we are revamping Three's Company, and I'm going to be playing Mrs. Roper. So that, we've put a little thing together with that, got a little trailer going with that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes out.
Nice, nice,
Hmm.
very nice. Is with comedy being something that you're very fond of, who
Yeah.
were your comedic influences?
So, let's see. When I think about my comedic influences, um it's I like the subtle comedy, not just, not necessarily comedians who get up and just, do a full uh what do you call set. I like the, kind of like you didn't see it coming that that person was going to make
Right,
the funny quip.
exactly.
So Yvette, I think her name is Yvette Marie, she does some of that.
Okay.
It's not just gotcha kind of comedy, but it's kind of like undercover. And it's like, oh, I like that. Oh, she's funny. That you didn't know that that person was funny, but it's just the way they say things and it just comes out. I think Loretta Devine has a little bit of that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, so not she's not going to go on the road and do stand up, but there's a couple of lines that come out and you're just like, no, she didn't,
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of thing. So not in your face like Monique kind of,
Mm,
comedy, but just kind of low key. Now that was funny.
right,
So yeah.
exactly. Now, if you could work opposite of any comedic actor, who would it be?
Ooh, let me see if I could work opposite of any comedic actor. That's a good question. I hadn't even really thought about that. Um,
Male or female?
Yeah, that's what I'm just kind of thinking.
Mm,
I wouldn't mind working with Loretta Devine because I think we could play off of each other very well. But I
Mm.
was trying to really think of a male. You know, Anthony Hamilton. Is it Anthony Hamilton that plays on Blackish?
Anthony Anderson. Is
Anthony
that it?
Anderson. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind, wouldn't mind having some fun with him because I think we would have fun together. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
His brand of comedy is crazy, and
Is
Loretta
it?
Devine, I can totally understand what you mean by her. Um, yeah, her brand of comedy, it's definitely subtle. It sneaks up on you, and it's just like you don't see it coming, but when it hits you, it's like, oh wow, she
That
went.
was funny.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it takes you to that. And the thing about it that's so funny, my family is a laughing family. So when we get together, everybody's just, somebody does something, it's just cracking up laughing.
Mhm.
So laughter has always been the good medicine. I believe laughter keeps you young, keeps you looking good.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm down for a good laugh.
Absolutely, absolutely. Please tell our fans where they can find you on social media.
So you can find me at actress Veronica Slater on Instagram. You can find me actress Veronica Slater on Facebook. So I'm not on TikTok yet, and I know all my friends, you're not doing TikTok. Not yet. That's a bit much. So it's hard
Yeah,
enough trying to maintain these places. And of course, you can
really.
always go to IMDb and find actress. Look me up, Veronica Slater, and I'm two because one is an actress that's over in the UK.
Hmm.
So I had to be two.
Absolutely. And I'm actually looking at your IMDb right now. 14 credits as an actress, with films such as Life's a Peach, Whispers, SOS, The Prayer, Poetry Road, Help Meet, The Many Lives of Ann Winters, and so much more. So much more. Uh,
Mhm.
Very accomplished actress, from a career as a flight attendant, and you know, the best is yet to come. I
Yeah.
personally wish you the best in all your future endeavors, from the voiceover acting into the acting, and hopefully we can work together soon.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe we could do some comedy together.
Absolutely. And I love comedy. I love comedy. I definitely love comedy, or just being a comic relief in something. I don't know.
Exactly.
I got a knack for comedy. I definitely love comedy. But it's definitely good to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight on Thespian Works.
Thank you. And thank you for having me, Anthony. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Thespian Works with Anthony Velvet Hall. Once again, I would like to thank my very special guest, Veronica Slater, for joining me here tonight. Be sure to visit her on social media, go to her IMDb page, and watch out for her on the voiceover trail. And
Yes.
everybody, please be sure to remember the three things I tell everyone: life is short, death is certain, and be sure to love on the people that God gives you, because one day He gonna want them back. All right,
Ooh.
absolutely.
Oof. And then I got another.
Okay,
Chase your passion like it was the last bus at night.
that's what I'm talking about. The last bus at night,
The
the
last
last
bus.
one.
You know what the last bus is like.
That's right, exactly, because it ain't another bus coming. You better
Not
chase
until
that.
morning.
That's right. That's right. Everybody, thank you for joining us, and I will see you all soon. Peace and love.
Bye.